Hey, TikTok and anybody else in the social media world that stumbles on this video, thank you for clicking on this video. Blessings to you, and I hope all is well. This video is a recording that I'm making with the intention of introducing myself to anybody discovering this face for the first time, or may have discovered this face for a while and wondering, or maybe curious, to know who this person is and where does her opinions come from. So let me just introduce myself to you. My name is Letitia. I am an almost 42-year-old millennial mom of 5 children. I will be celebrating my 42nd birthday this summer, very soon, next month actually. And that makes me, I really like the fact that makes me around the same age as Beyonce, Pete Buttigieg, and Joe Biden. I am a poet, a writer, and progressive idealist. I am an INFJ empath and agnostic. And I will go a little bit into detail what some of those things mean. I am also a home managing, homeschooling mom, but I'm enjoying the fact that it's summer, so my kids aren't doing school this summer, and I am going to use that time to introduce myself a lot more on the internet and share my opinion on many things. I share my opinions on politics and life. I share my thoughts and opinions and feelings on politics and life. And I usually introduce people to my personality and tell you where I'm coming from when I say the things I say, because even though there's a lot of people on the internet, I believe that I have a unique perspective in which I look at things. And I am just learning how to develop my communication skills so that I can share that unique perspective with anybody who is willing to accept it, who's interested. I'm not here to force my opinion on anybody or to try to pressure anybody to do to think like I see the world as I see the world. I'm just sharing my perspective. So I wrote down a few questions for myself that I would like to answer for anybody who is interested. First of all, why do I feel as though I should have an opinion on politics? The thing is that one of the things that I would like you to know is that I am a political layman, meaning I'm in the learning season of politics. I feel like I know a lot more than many because there's a lot of people who are just not informed civically on how their government works and how politics work and how things actually happen. And I know this to be a fact because based on some of the things that people say when they're arguing or making a case against or for anything to do with politics, and then how they assume things happen. I am learning how things happen. I'm educating myself every day and listening to people who are smarter than me and know a lot about it and has been following for a long time, and that is well informed. I inform myself by listening to well informed people and educating myself. So I've started to pay attention to politics for about 8 years, you know, around the time that this whatever is this creature made his rise in the political realm and changed the entire direction of the country and the world and made the world just a different place. And I have a lot of opinions on that, and I will be sharing many opinions over the summer and for the rest of the year, sharing my opinions on what I've learned, what I've observed, what I know, what I feel. And I share these things from the perspective, the personality type that I've just told you, and from my previous experiences. So, what is an INFJ? If for anybody that doesn't know, that is a Myers-Briggs personality type, and from doing my research and learning a lot about what an INFJ is and the different personality types, I identify very, very close to a T to every description that I've ever heard of an INFJ, so I know for sure that I am an INFJ. And what is interesting about an INFJ personality, it is very rare. I have never met that I know of, another INFJ, we tend to feel alone because and misunderstood because we barely meet people like us. We see things and feel things on a whole different level, you know. I call myself an INFJ empath because I absorb energy. I absorb people's energy mostly. You know, there's some INFJs that connect really deeply to animals. I connect to people. I connect to the energy of people and, you know, what is going on around me. What is interesting about an INFJ personality is that we have the ability to both be logical. We could be logical, yet sensitive, yet empathetic. You know, and that's a very, very interesting personality type because we could be very strategic and we could identify with logical actions needed to be taken to get a beneficial and positive outcome for ourselves or for other people. But we also identify with the emotional parts of the process. We can relate and we could feel people's emotions. We're very good to talk to, very good listeners, very good advice givers. I know for me, another thing is that we are also very good at creating an atmosphere of balance and harmony in the spaces that we touch. We recognize what are the best things that you could say or do or certain actions that can be taken to create a more harmonious environment and a more balanced environment with all the entities, people, emotions, you know, all the things that are involved. And I've utilized those skills, those natural skills in my parenting. It's made me a really, really great parent and a really great wife because I have the ability to understand how how the personalities of my family and the emotions of my family work in balance and harmony with one another. So I can organize and home manage my home in a very harmonious and balanced way. So my home life is very peaceful for the most part. And when it is not peaceful, I can unravel it like a web and figure out how to bring it back to peace and healing and balance, you know. So that's one of the things that makes me a good parent and a good advice giver. I'm very intuitive. I consider myself an intuitive, and that is why when I say what I say, when I say that that's not a good idea, it might be very, very advisable to listen to me. I've made many decisions in my life based on my intuition, and my experience has led me to believe that my intuition is very spot on. It almost makes me feel like a psychic sometimes. I'm not. Um, my spiritual gifts, and I don't know what else to call them, but I know the term spiritual gifts from my Christian upbringing. My superpowers, my spiritual gifts, is wisdom, discernment, and faith. I know how to keep the faith, and not faith as in faith in a higher power, faith that there's always going to be a good outcome. We're going to go through hell sometimes, it's going to be bumpy sometimes, but the outcome is always we're going to end up in a good place. Keep the faith that whatever happens in our lives, it is for our good, and this is a beneficial part to it, you know, even loss and grief. Which, on that note, I have also experienced losing a child, a baby, and that's a story for another time. The next question is what's an agnostic? So, from my understanding of an agnostic, is like somebody who neither believes in God and, you know, or doesn't believe in God. And I mostly identify with the being an agnostic. The reason I've chosen to be an agnostic, and I've decided to do that even before I realized that they had a term for it. I made a decision that to me it doesn't matter what we call them. I do believe in the divine. I do believe in inner power. I do believe in the power of love and hope and good and right versus evil, and that right is more powerful than evil, and light is more powerful than darkness, you know. And I believe in a higher power in that sense. It's just that for me, I don't have a name. I don't care what the name is. I don't care if it's God or source or I don't care what it is to me. I just genuinely want to love people love my planet, love my life, love myself, love my family, I just want to love, if you get my point. And I don't want to get into the semantics of who's right or who's wrong when it comes to religion or ideology or spiritual beliefs. So I've identified with being agnostic, and I don't want to make people feel as though they cannot call their God by whatever his name is. You know, when in my presence, I would try to adapt and speak to suit. It's very complicated because most of the time I say God or whatever. That's all I say. God or whatever. For me personally, I believe that God is inside of us, and God is love. That's what I believe God is. And I don't care what his name is. To me, what its name is. To me, its name is I am. That's a conversation for another time. I am. That's the name that I most identify with as the higher power, but it's very complicated to use in a sentence. All right. So, why am I on TikTok, and why I have disabled the comments on TikTok? Well, first of all, TikTok I find is very overwhelming, but one of the things I really love and appreciate about TikTok is that it's a little bit more freeing. You post something, and it's like you post and it's put out there, and there's no hoops to jump through. And if there's hoops that I'm jumping through, I'm not aware of the hoops. It's just out there, and people discover it, and it's not as complicated as Instagram, which is one of my favorite apps, even though I'm not a fan of Meta, the owners of Instagram, but I love the app. I am a little less, I enjoy it a lot less in terms of the amount of, it favors people that pay money to have their accounts, what's the word? Amplified, or put in people's face. I forgot the word. And that's disappointing for me, because I don't got the money to pay Instagram right now. But I'm also developing a YouTube channel. For anybody that may be interested in looking for me on Instagram or YouTube, I'm Letitia B, or on YouTube Tish B, TISHB, Tish B. And to recognize it, the banner on YouTube would say Letitia Learns Life. Okay. And as far as Letitia B on Instagram, it's Letitia's POV, is Life, Love, Democracy, Life, Love, Liberty, Democracy 2024. That used to be a different account with a different name, but I changed it because I wanted people to know exactly what I was about in 2024. So anyway, back to the original question. Why did I disable the comments on TikTok? I disabled the comments. Let me go back. I disabled the comments because, again, like I said, for me as an introvert is a bit overwhelming. I also disabled it because it's 2024 and it's a political year, and I expect it to be bombarded by trolls. Although, really and truthfully, I'm not seeing. It's like the bots and the trolls have disappeared. Have you noticed that? I don't know. I haven't been dealing with bots and trolls at all. And that's interesting. I take your likes as a sign that what I said resonated with you, and you appreciated what I said in my video. So that is your way of sending me your support and sending me your appreciation. I don't need validation. I don't need to debate anything that I said. I don't need anybody to pick up anything that I said any way I said it. I just wanted to put my message out, my opinion and feelings out, and you take it or leave it. That's the situation. But maybe when we get out of this political season, out of 2024, and Joe Biden has won and democracy has won, and the world feels like a safe place, and I'm not deleting all my accounts and trying to get out of Dodge, of America, then I could talk about other things, and I could feel safer, and I could probably have the comments on so people can engage with my account. I am not really a TikToker per se, but I'm getting my feet wet on TikTok, and I appreciate your support. Like I said, when you like my posts, I take it as I take it as a comment. You don't have to use words. I take it as a compliment. So thank you for that. So thank you for listening. Well, there's just one more part that I need to add is that I forgot to say what an INFJ is. An INFJ is an introverted, intuitive feeling, judging personality.